third part of your replenishment strategy is choosing your friends, because choosing your friends is choosing your future. The Bible's very, very clear about this, especially in Proverbs. In Proverbs 13, verse 20, it says, "Whomever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm." In other words, if you hang around with people who are wise, you become more wise. You become like whoever you hang around with. And the Proverbs were written especially to... that was Proverbs 13, verse 20. When you look at the Proverbs, you look at the first verse or two of most of the Proverbs, they are written from the king or queen to the son, and they are intended to give that son, who would be the eventual ruler of God's people, they're intended to give him wisdom in surrounding himself with good people so that he can achieve the goals that God has called him to achieve. And so a lot of the wisdom that you see in Proverbs is along those lines, surrounding yourself with good people, and you'll have good results, or surrounding yourself with bad people and you have bad results. And if you know the Old Testament, we can see that played out there as well. You can chart your enjoyment of life and your effectiveness in what God has called you to do by how good the people are around you. If you want to get more traction in what God has called you to do, get better people around you. If you want to be happier and enjoy life more, get better people around you and get more distance from people that have a poisonous kind of an impact on your life. Your associations determine your destination. You can look at the life of any person, you can see who are the people who are the inner circle in their lives. That will tell you what their life will be like in 5 or 10 years. That's how critical it is. So one thing that I've been doing in my life is getting really intentional, and it sounds mean at first, but I'm getting really intentional about who I allow into the inner circle of my life, because I know that whoever influences me is influencing my destiny. And so I have to put up a gate, and I have to let in the good, I have to keep out the bad. Now, you can't totally eliminate every bad experience with every human being for the rest of your life. I'd sign up for that if I could. But you can do damage control and limit the impact of bad people in your life, and you can increase the impact of good people in your lives. So one of the ways that this has happened is that we've just started going to a new church, and the last couple of times that we've gone to this new church, there's an older gentleman who has spotted us and called us out by name from the front of the church and prophesied over us. That's been really cool. And as he has prophesied over us, those words have been true. It's never happened to us before in a public meeting kind of setting like that. The words have been true. He talked about us starting off our year that God was going to enlarge our tent, and we've started to see some crazier things start to happen. And then the next time we went in, he said that this is a turning point time in our lives. And there's a lot of meaning. I wish I could take more time to unpack that. But what I love about that is that we're putting ourselves into a community that affirms what God's truth is about us. Are you in a community that affirms what God's truth is about you? Now, they're not going to get it right maybe every time. No person does. But what you need to look at is the net impact of people's lives upon you. Sometimes people will have an off day. Have you ever had someone who usually has a positive impact in your life, and then you walk away from a conversation going, where did that come from? Sometimes that happens, but think of it almost like a ledger sheet. The people who I allow most closely into my life, the positive impact on my life better be a lot longer list than the negative impact on my life. Choosing your friends is choosing your future. And one of the best examples that we see of this in the Bible is David and the mighty men. In 1 Samuel 23, you can read about that story. And I just love these guys because they decided they would surround themselves around someone who had the call of God in their lives, and they would make it happen. And they would be fiercely loyal. And they would put themselves at risk in order to support that person in their calling. David, when he was at his lowest point, do you know what his replenishment strategy was? Well, he sought the presence of the Lord. That's one of them. We'll talk about that. But he also surrounded himself with good people. And how did he know that they were good people? Not because they had a lot of wealth, because they were a lot of people that didn't have wealth, and a lot of people that had been rejected by others. But he would look at them and go, loyal, 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 loyal. You guys can hang out with me in my cave. We're just going to be here for a little while. Soon we'll be in the palace. And it's going to get really cool after that point. So these loyal people started to hang around with him, and they made it their mission to help David accomplish his mission. I need people like that in my life. And you guys need people like that in your life as well. Choosing your friends is choosing your future.